Good afternoon. I'm David Farrell. I'm going to be the host here today, and I've been the host for several years, and it's always a joy, a great pleasure to be here. And I would say, finally, it's a very energizing experience just to be a part of Poetry Out Loud. To our out-of-town visitors, welcome to Springfield, the state capital, the city that Lincoln called home, and the proud birthplace of its poet son, Vachel Lindsay. To visitors and homies alike, welcome to the Hoagland Center. It's a hub for the arts, the humanities, and a lot of other wonderful, vibrant activity in downtown Springfield. It's one of the leaders in bringing downtown back to a really wonderful life and a very attractive place day and night. And finally, to everybody, welcome on this special day to the regional contest of the Poetry Out Loud National Recitation Contest 2013. Let me move right straight into the program here. National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation created Poetry Out Loud in 2005. And it's administered in a partnership with the state arts agencies of the 50 states, plus the District of Columbia, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. Whenever you list those others, the Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, you always think you're listening to one of the national conventions where they're nominating a president. It's the only other time they normally come up. So I'm pleased to have the opportunity today to note Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. We'll take a couple of seconds here to emphasize over and over and over again, turn off all of your electronic devices. And it's not a good time to bring up guns or anything, but you know, don't ever say the gun's not loaded unless you check it. So don't assume that your electronic device, whatever, as they call it in the trade, platform you might be using today, please check it, turn it off. We'd also ask you not to treat this like a rock concert with the cameras in the air. We'd like to say, just don't distract from today's recitations. These folks have worked very hard, and the last thing they need is a little unnerving, either a flash or people raising up some kind of device to get a picture. So if you would help out everybody here, but most especially our presenters today, it would be just wonderful. And by the way, for those of you who weren't here earlier, many, many pictures were taken, and at the end of today, there'll be opportunities for pictures. So there's quite a photographic record that has been established and will be established throughout today's entire contest. There'll also be, by way of housekeeping, there'll be a short break between rounds 1 and 2. And perhaps most importantly, to underscore our own humanity, the restrooms are through that door down there, and to the right, all the way till you see the wall, then you take a left. Poetry Out Loud began in 2005 as a successful pilot program in Washington, D.C. and Chicago. And it was so successful that in 2006, it was expanded to all 50 states. Since then, it has really grown very rapidly, and today's participation list shows how rapidly it's growing in Illinois. In 2012, 365,000 students competed in the National Poetry Out Loud Recitation Contest. So it went from a few hundred the first year in 2005, in 7 years up to 365,000 participants. Now, talking about Poetry Out Loud, the Poetry Foundation and its national movement brings to mind the fact that we are honored today to have a very special guest in our midst to really add a nice highlight to this regional contest of Poetry Out Loud. Joining us today is Stephen Young, the program director at the Poetry Foundation. Mr. Young began as an assistant at Poetry Magazine in 1988 and served as senior editor for many years before he became the program director at the Poetry Foundation in 2003. He received an Everett Helm Fellowship for work on Dear Editor, A History of Poetry and Letters, co-edited with Joseph Parisi and published in 2002. Also with Joseph Parisi, Mr. Young co-edited the Poetry Anthology 1912-2002 and Between the Lines, A History of Poetry and Letters 1962 to 2002. As program director, among other things, he runs Poetry Out Loud. Please welcome to the stage Stephen Young. Mr. Young?
Thank you, David. You'll be glad to know my cell phone is off and I've never been armed. First of all, let me congratulate all of the contestants. I hope you've had some fun in getting here. Acknowledgement is also due to the teachers, parents, siblings, friends, and coaches who've supported these students. Maybe you too have enjoyed the journey, though for some of you, I realize that the pleasure might come from hearing the same poems over and over. Practice, practice, practice. The mission of the Poetry Foundation is to create a vigorous presence for poetry in our culture, and you're all our accomplices. Our organization grew out of Poetry Magazine, which was established in Chicago in 1912 by Harriet Monroe. She maintained an open-door policy, and the journal sought only poetry and commentary of the highest quality, regardless of who sent it. The little magazine discovered or gave vital early encouragement to such poets as T.S. Eliot, Marianne Moore, Robert Frost, Carl Sandburg, Edna St. Vincent Millay, Ezra Pound, H.D., Vachel Lindsay, and countless others who would later join the canon of 20th century poetry. Indeed, the magazine has gone on to publish virtually every major poet writing in English. In 2002, Poetry Magazine received an unexpected gift of $200 million from Ruth Lilly. Ruth Lilly, heiress to the Lilly pharmaceutical fortune, submitted poems to the magazine, and while none was ever accepted, she received gracious rejection notes. Always be kind to strangers. Ms. Lilly's stunning generosity enabled us to create many programs beneficial to poetry and poets, none more significant than Poetry Out Loud. A partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts, Poetry Out Loud was launched in 2006 with 40,000 participants around the country. Last year, as David said, 365,000 students participated, a 9-fold increase in just 7 years, and I might add that the students get better and better every year. Although Poetry Out Loud is a contest, at heart, it's really about discovering poetry, and its best prizes, the poems themselves, have already been won. There are perhaps few places that speak more forcefully to the worth of poetry than Springfield, home of Abraham Lincoln. As many of you know, Lincoln was a great admirer of Shakespeare, Robert Burns, and as a young man memorized a poem by William Knox called Mortality. He loved that poem. He even wrote a few dark, melancholy verses of his own. But it's in his speeches, the Gettysburg Address, the Second Inaugural, and many others, where we hear the powerful economy of poetry and its transforming music. A child once described poetry as an egg with horses inside it. In a few minutes, we'll let the horses run. Good luck, everyone.
Now that sets a nice target for you, doesn't it? Let the horses run. That's wonderful. Excuse me. Poetry Out Loud uses a pyramid process in this entire contest, starting at the classroom level, working up to the school, to the regional, to the state, and on up to the national contest. Each winner at the state level receives $200 and an expense-paid trip to DC to compete for the national championship. The state winner's school receives a $500 stipend for the purchase of poetry books. The runner-up in each state receives $100 and $200 for his or her school library. A total of $50,000 in scholarships and school stipends will be awarded to the top 12 finishers at the national finals. And the nice thing is, because I know one of you will go on to win the national, unlike Miss America, you don't have to have a platform. 8 regional contests are being held in Illinois and in the month of February. They're in Alton, Carbondale, Champaign, Chicago City, Chicago suburbs, Rock Island, Rockford, and here in Springfield. The Springfield Area Arts Council is delighted to host the regional and state contests for the 8th consecutive year. So they've really put a lot of work into this, and it shows it gets better and better. And without further ado, I would like to introduce our regional contest staff at the scoring table here. That's how they begin boxing matches, isn't it, with the scoring table? Anyway, at the scoring table, Bob Jessup and the delightful, lovely Lori Farrell, my wife. Up front is she doesn't look her age either, does she? That's an old, isn't it, you know? Anyway, up front is our judging staff. Our prompter, Lori Beckham, accuracy judge, Taya Chesley, and the 3 recitation judges, John McCarthy, assistant editor of the literary journal Quiddity, Dale Mason, a teacher and director, and Osni Bagasa, actress and narrator. Also helping today are photographer Kelly Fifield, ushers J.C. Brown, Eric O'Connor, and Adam Schaefer, as well as technician Luke Becker, and former college professor, mentor, and all-around Renaissance guy, that's redundant, all-around person, Virgil Rhodes, who's already giving me a taste of his talent. In addition, I'd like to recognize the executive director of the Springfield Area Arts Council, Penny Wallencreel, and the Chief Operating Officer for Poetry Matters at the Springfield Area Arts Council, someone you've heard from and have come to know very well, Sheila Walk. Poetry Out Loud competitors are judged on the following criteria: physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatic appropriateness, level of difficulty, evidence of understanding. Each of these categories is scored individually using a 6-point scale. The judges also evaluate each entrant's overall performance and assigning 1 to 9 points. 2 poems will be recited by each participant, 1 poem per round. The order of recitation was determined through a random drawing for each round. Each student will be introduced by the MC. The student will then announce the poem and its poet. After reciting, the student will return to his or her seat. The judges will score the recitation, and the score sheets will be given to the scoring staff. Then we'll simply move on to the next contestant. And we do have a number of folks today, so we'll move with some almost military precision here. We ask you please to remain silent, very quiet during between the recitations, as well as obviously during the recitations, so the judges may concentrate on their scoring decisions. Virgil Rhodes will entertain us during those interludes there, and we do thank you for the cooperation. Now, before we begin round 1, I'm going to formally introduce all the participants, each of whom is a winner at his or her school. Students, as I call your name, please come forward to receive a certificate of recognition for your participation from Mr. Stephen Young. And after you've received that, please remain on stage for a group photograph. Now, in alphabetical order, Mr. Young, presenting Catherine Ann Beeler Lutheran High School. Clayton Sena, Morrisonville High School. Charday Crawford, Southeast High School. Kyle DePatus, Porta High School. Gina Gary, Lanphier High School. Michael Gokeg, Pawnee High School. Cameron Harmon, Morrisonville High School. Savannah Hess, Eisenhower High School. Ann Kufalis, St. Teresa High School. Sarah Lane, Lanphier High School. Joseph Mocharnik, Sacred Heart High School. Sacred Heart Griffin, I'm sorry, Springfield people. Darcy O'Brien, Sacred Heart Griffin High School. Taylor Rossi, Porta High School. Najulie Saunders, Southeast High School. Riley Sant, Pawnee High School. Simone Sparks, St. Teresa High School. Caitlin Spence, Eisenhower High School. Emma Todd, Lanphier High School. Lydia Renee Olsaker, Lutheran High School. And Austin Vinson, Springfield High School. Robert Fagg is also here. He was named as an alternative at Lanphier High School contest. And Robert recited a few minutes ago in a practice round for the judges to sharpen their skills. Also with us is Taryn Madigan from Lutheran High School, also a winner, who will recite first this afternoon so that none of the contestants will be the first one to go. Please give a round of applause to all of our contestants and supporters today. Okay, as we noted, so that nobody is the first to, no pun intended, break the sound barrier, so the first person to get up here to speak in the microphone is going to be someone who is a winner, but is today doing a big favor for all the folks out there. And I speak of Taryn Madigan from Lutheran High School, who will come to recite a beautiful poem so that everybody can get ready and our contestants can get ready, and then we will begin. Taryn, please.
Romance by Claude McKay. To clasp you now and feel your head close pressed, scented and warm against my beating breast. To whisper soft and quivering your name and drink the passion burning in your frame. To lie at full length, taut with cheek to cheek, and tease your mouth with kisses until you speak. Love words, mad words, dream words, sweet senseless words, melodious like the notes of mating birds. To hear you ask if I shall love always, and myself answer to the end of days. To feel your easeful sigh of happiness when on your trembling lips I murmur, yes. It is so sweet, we know it is not true. What matters it, the night must shed her dew. We know it is not true, but it is sweet. The poem with this music is complete.
Okay, we're now ready to begin with round one of Poetry Out Loud. I'm going to offer the name and school of our presenters as you will see them in your program. Presenting first, round one, Emma Todd from Lanphier High School. Emma?
Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Please welcome to the stage Austin Vinson from Springfield High School. Austin?
There's Been a Death in the Opposite House by Emily Dickinson. There's been a death in the opposite house as lately as today. I know it by the numb look such houses have. Hallway. The neighbors rustle in and out. The doctor drives away. A window opens like a pod. Abrupt. Mechanically. Somebody flings a mattress out. The children hurry by. They wonder if it died on that. I used to, when a boy. The minister goes stiffly in, as if the house were his. And he owns all the mourners now. And little boys, besides. And then the milliner and the man of the appalling trade to take the measure of the house. There'll be that dark parade of tassels and of coaches soon. It's easy as a sign, the intuition of the news in just a country town.
Please welcome next from Lanphier High School, Sarah Lane.
Amor Mundi by Christina Rossetti. Oh, where are you going with your love locks flowing on the west wind blowing along this valley track? The downhill path is easy. Come with me, an it please ye. We shall escape the uphill by never turning back. So they two went together in glowing August weather. The honey-breathing heather lay to their left and right. And dear she was to dote on, her swift feet seemed to float on the air like soft twin pigeons, too sportive to alight. Oh, what is that in heaven, where gray cloud flakes are seven, where black as clouds hang riven just at the rainy skirt? Oh, that's a meteor sent us, a message dumb, portentous, an undeciphered solemn signal of help or hurt. Oh, what is that glides quickly, where velvet flowers grow thickly, their scent comes rich and sickly? A scaled and hooded worm. Oh, what's that in the hollow, so pale I quake to follow? Oh, that's a thin dead body, which waits the eternal term. Turn again, oh my sweetest, turn again, false and fleetest. This beaten way thou beatest, I fear is hell's own track. Nay, too steep for hill mounting. Nay, too late for cost counting. This downhill path is easy, but there's no turning back.
Our next presentation from Pawnee High School is by Michael Goykag. Michael?
Sonnet 18, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eyes of heaven shine, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance, or by nature's changing course, untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in a shade, when in eternal lines of time thou growest. So long as man can breathe and eyes can see, so long gives this, and this gives life to thee.
Please welcome next Simone Sparks from St. Teresa High School.
The Legend by Garrett Hongo. In Chicago, it is snowing softly, and a man has just done his wash for the week. He steps into the twilight of early evening, carrying a wrinkled shopping bag full of neatly folded clothes, and, for a moment, enjoys the feel of warm laundry and crinkled paper, flannel-like, against his gloveless hands. There's a Rembrandt glow on his face, a triangle of orange in the hollow of his cheek as a last flash of sunset blazes the storefronts and lit windows of the street. He is Asian, Thai or Vietnamese, and very skinny, dressed as one of the poor in rumpled suit pants and a plaid mackinaw, dingy and too large. He negotiates the slick of ice on the sidewalk by his car, opens the Fairlane's back door, leans to place the laundry in, and turns, for an instant, toward the flurry of footsteps and cries of pedestrians as a boy, that's all he was, backs from the corner package store, shooting a pistol, firing it once at the dumbfounded man who falls forward, grabbing at his chest. A few sounds escape from his mouth, a babbling no one understands as people surround him, bewildered at his speech. The noises he makes are nothing to them. The boy has gone, lost in the light array of foot traffic, dappling the snow with fresh prints. Tonight, I read about Descartes' grand courage to doubt everything except his own miraculous existence. And I feel so distinct from the wounded man lying on the concrete, I am ashamed. Let the night sky cover him as he dies. Let the Weaver Girl cross the bridge of heaven and take up his cold hands.
Next, please welcome Catherine Ann Beeler of Lutheran High School. Catherine?
Eagle Poem by Joy Harjo. To pray you open your whole self, to sky, to earth, to sun, to moon, to one whole voice that is you. And know there is more that you can't see, can't hear, can't know, except in moments, steadily growing, and in languages that aren't always sound, but other circles of motion. Like eagle, that Sunday morning over Salt River, circled in blue sky. In wind, swept our hearts clean with sacred wings. We see you, see ourselves, and know that we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things. Breathe in, knowing we are made of all this, and breathe, knowing we are truly blessed, because we were born and die soon within a true circle of motion. Like eagle, rounding out the morning inside us. We pray that it will be done in beauty, in beauty.
Presenting next from Springfield High School, Gina Gary. Gina?
It Was Not Death, for I Stood Up by Emily Dickinson. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt Sirocco's crawl, nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chancel cool. And yet, it tasted like them all. The figures I've seen set orderly for burial reminded me of mine, as if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame and could not breathe without a key. And 'twas like midnight some, when everything that ticked had stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost first autumn morns repeal the beating ground. But most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar, or even a report of land to justify despair.
Please welcome Caitlin Spence, Eisenhower High School. Caitlin?
Baudelaire by Delmore Schwartz. When I fall asleep, and even during sleep, I hear quite distinctly voices speaking whole phrases, commonplace and trivial, having no relation to my affairs. Dear mother, is any time left to us in which to be happy? My debts are immense. My bank account is subject to the court's judgment. I know nothing. I cannot know anything. I have lost the ability to make an effort. But now, as before, my love for you increases. You are always armed to stone me, always. It is true, it dates from childhood. For the first time in my long life, I am almost happy. The book, almost finished. Almost seems good. It will endure, a monument to my obsessions, my hatred, my disgust. Debts and inquietude persist and weaken me. Satan glides before me, saying sweetly, "Rest for a day, you can rest and play today. Tonight you will work." When night comes, my mind, terrified by arrears, bored by sadness, paralyzed by impotence, promises tomorrow. I will tomorrow. Tomorrow, the same comedy enacts itself with the same resolution, the same weakness. I am sick of this life of furnished rooms. I am sick of having colds and headaches. You know my strange life. Every day brings its quota of wrath. You little know a poet's life, dear mother. I must write poems. The most fatiguing of occupations. I am sad this morning. Do not reproach me. I write from a cafe near the post office. Amid the click of billiard balls, the clatter of dishes, the pounding of my heart, I have been asked to write a history of caricature. I have been asked to write a history of sculpture. Shall I write a history of the caricatures of sculptures of you in my heart? Although it costs you countless agony, although you cannot believe it necessary and doubt the sum is accurate, please send me money enough for at least 3 weeks.
Next up from St. Teresa High School, Annie Kafalis. Annie?
Beautiful Wreckage by W.D. Earhart. What if I didn't shoot the old lady running away from our patrol? Or the old man in the back of the head? Or the boy at the marketplace? Or what if the boy... But he didn't have a grenade. And the woman in Way didn't lie in the rain in a mortar pit with 7 Marines just for food. Gaffney didn't get hit in the knee. Ames didn't die in the river. Ski didn't die in a medevac chopper between Con Thien and Da Nang. In Vietnamese, Con Thien means place of angels. What if it really was? Instead of a place of rotting sandbags, incoming heavy artillery, rats, and mud. What if the angels were Ames and Ski? Or the lady, the man, and the boy? And they lifted Gaffney out of the mud and healed his shattered knee. What if none of it happened the way I said? Would it all be a lie? Would the wreckage be suddenly beautiful? Would the dead rise up and walk?
Please welcome next Joseph Macharnik, Sacred Heart Griffin High School. Joseph?
Uphill by Christina Rossetti. Does the road wind uphill all the way? Yes, to the very end. Will the day's journey take the whole long day? From morn to night, my friend. But is there for the night a resting place? A roof for when the slow, dark hours begin. May not the darkness hide it from my face? You cannot miss that inn. Shall I meet other wayfarers at night? Those who have gone before. Then must I knock or call when just in sight? They will not keep you standing at that door. Shall I find comfort, travel sore and weak? Of labor you shall find the sum. Will there be beds for me and all who seek? Yea, beds for all who come.
Please welcome Linda Renee Altsaker from Lutheran High School. Linda? I'm sorry, Lydia. Sorry.
Their Bodies by David Wagner. To the students of anatomy at Indiana University. That gaunt old man came first, his hair as white as your scoured tables. Maybe you'll recollect him by the scars of steel mill burns on the back of his hands, on the nape of his neck, on his arms and sinewy legs, and her by the enduring innocence of her face, as open to all of you in death as it would have been in life. She would memorize your names and ages and pastimes and hometowns, if she could. But she can't now, so remember her. They believed in doctors, listened to their advice, and followed it faithfully. You should treat them one last time as they would have treated you. They had been kind to others all their lives and believed in being useful. Remember, somewhere their son is trying hard to believe you'll learn as much as possible from them, as he did, and will do your best to learn politely and truly. They gave away the gift of those useful bodies against his wish. They had their own ways of doing everything, always. If you're not certain which ones are theirs, be gentle to everybody.
Lydia, my apologies for calling you Linda. It's a lovely name, Lydia. By the way, I didn't buy this watch because I think I'm a Navy SEAL. I figured if I could read it at night, I ought to be able to read it during the day. It's just words I have problems with. Please welcome next Cameron Harmon from Morrisonville High School. Cameron?
Old Ironsides by Oliver Wendell Holmes. I tear her tattered ensign down, long has it waved on high, and many an eye has danced to see that banner in the sky. Beneath it, Beneath it rung the battle shout, and burst the cannon's roar. The meteor of the ocean air shall sweep the clouds no more. Her deck once red with heroes' blood, where knelt the vanquished foe, when winds were hurrying over the flood, and waves were white below. No more shall feel the victor's tread, or know the conquered knee. The harpies of the shore shall pluck the eagle of the sea. Oh, better that her shattered hulk should sink beneath the wave. Her thunder shook the mighty deep, and there should be her grave. Nail to the mast her holy flag, set every threadbare sail, and give her to the god of storms, the lightning and the gale.
From Southeast High School, please welcome Najulik Sanders. Najulik?
Romance by Claude McKay. To clasp you now and feel your head close pressed, scented and warm against my beating breast. To whisper soft and quivering your name and drink the passion burning in your frame. To lie at full length, taut with cheek to cheek, and tease your mouth with kisses till you speak. Love words, mad words, dream words, sweet senseless words, melodious like notes of mating birds. To hear you ask if I shall love always, and myself answer, till the end of days. To feel your easeful sigh of happiness when on your trembling lips I murmur, yes. It is so sweet. We know it is not true. What matters it? The night must shed her dew. We know it is not true, but it is sweet. The poem with this music is now complete.
Next up, Taylor Rossi from Porta High School. Taylor.
A Boat Beneath a Sunny Sky by Lewis Carroll. A boat beneath a sunny sky, lingering onward dreamily in an evening of July. Children three that nestle near, eager eye and willing ear, pleased a simple tale to hear. Long has paled that sunny sky, echoes fade and memories die. Autumn frosts have slain July. Still she haunts me, phantom-wise, Alice moving under skies, never seen by waking eyes. Children yet the tale to hear, eager eye and willing ear, lovingly shall nestle near. In a wonderland they lie,
dreaming as the days go by, dreaming as the summers die, ever drifting down the stream, lingering in the golden gleam. Life, what is it but a dream?
Our next recitation by Sharday Crawford of Southeast High School. Sharday.
A Song in the Front Yard by Gwendolyn Brooks. I've stayed in the front yard all my life. I want to peek at the back, where it's rough and untended and hungry weed grows. A girl gets sick of a rose. I want to go in the backyard now, and maybe down the alley to where the charity children play. I want a good time today. They do some wonderful things. They have some wonderful fun. My mother sneers, but I say it's fine. How they don't have to go in at 8:45. My mother, she tells me that Johnny May will grow up to be a bad woman. That George will be taken to jail sooner or late. On account of last winter, he sold our back gate. But I say it's fine. Honest, I do. And I'd like to be a bad woman too. And wear the brave stockings of night black lace. And strut down the streets with paint on my face.
To the stage next, welcome Darcy O'Brien of Sacred Heart Griffin High School. Darcy?
The Tables Turn by William Wordsworth. Up, up, my friend, and quit your books, or surely you'll grow double. Up, up, my friend, and clear your looks. Why all this toil and trouble? The sun above the mountain's head, a freshening luster mellow, through all the long green fields has spread his first sweet evening yellow. Books. 'Tis a dull and endless strife. Come hear the woodland linnet. How sweet his music, on my life, there's more of wisdom in it. And hark, how blithe the throstle sings, he too is no mean preacher. Come forth into the light of things, let nature be your teacher. She has a world of ready wealth, our minds and hearts to bless. Spontaneous wisdom breathed by health, truth breathed by cheerfulness. One impulse from a vernal wood may teach you more of man, of moral evil and of good, than all the sages can. Sweet is the lore which nature brings. Our meddling intellect misshapes the beauteous forms of things. We murder to dissect. Enough of science and of art. Close up those barren leaves. Come forth and bring with you a heart that watches and receives.
Let's not go out today. We'll just sit around and have coffee and drinks, and we'll just listen to a big CD of Virgil Rhodes. Welcome, please, next, Kyle DePatis from Porta High School. Kyle.
Fable for Blackboard, George Starbuck. Here is the grackle, people. Here is the fox, folks. The grackle sits in the bracken. The fox hopes. Here are the fronds, friends, that cover the fox. The fronds get in a frenzy. The grackle looks. Here are the ticks, tykes, that live in the leaves, loves. The fox is confounded. and God is above.
From Eisenhower High School comes our next presenter, Savannah Hess. Savannah.
A Song in the Front Yard by Gwendolyn Brooks. I've stayed in the front yard all my life. I want a peek at the back, where it's rough and untended and hungry weed grows. A girl gets sick of a rose. I want to go in the backyard now, and maybe down the alley to where the charity children play. I want a good time today. They do some wonderful things. They have some wonderful fun. My mother sneers, but I say it's fine how they don't have to go in at 8:45. My mother, she tells me that Johnny May will grow up to be a bad woman, that George will be taken to jail soon or late on account of last winter he sold our back gate. But I say it's fine. Honest, I do. And I'd like to be a bad woman too, and wear the brave stockings of night black lace, and strut down the streets with paint on my face.
We hear next a presentation from Riley Sant of Pawnee High School. Riley?
Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice.
Our last presentation in round one is from Clayton Cena of Morrisonville High School. Clayton?
Under the Vulture Tree by David Bottoms. We have all seen them circling pastures, have looked up from the mouth of a barn, a pine clearing, the fences of our own backyards, and have stood amazed by the one slow wing beat, the endless dihedral drift. But I had never seen so many, so close, hundreds, every dead limb of the dead oak feathered black. And I cut the engine, let the river grab the john boat and pull it toward the tree. The black leaves shined. The pink fruit blossomed red, ugly as a human heart. And as I passed under their dream, I saw for the first time its soft countenance, wrinkled and generous, like the faces of the very old who have grown to empathize with everything. And as I drifted away from them, on the pole of the river, reluctant, looking back at their roost, calling them what I'd never called them, what they are, those dwarfed, transfiguring angels who flock to the side of the poisoned fox, the mud turtle crushed on the side of the road, who pray over the leaf graves of the anonymous lost, with mercy enough to consume us all and give us wings.